My 32M partner, 30F, gets very upset if we don't have sex. Too long didn't read. My 32M partner, 30F, gets very upset if we don't have sex, and I'm worried it will get worse when we move in. Throwaway accounters could be a bit too obvious given my Reddit name. I want to start off by saying that I absolutely love my partner to bits and 100% see a long-term future with her. We don't really ever argue or have disagreements, only around this subject. I have been with my partner for going on 2 years now, mainly long distance due to work, but she's moving in with me in my hometown in May, which is one of the main reasons I want to try and address this problem sooner rather than later, as I imagine it could potentially get worse when we move in together. She has been quite clear from the outset on a couple of things. 1. She has a very high sex drive. 2. Her love language is intimacy and affection. 3. She has an insecurity about initiating sex and being turned down. I in general have an average libido for a male, not too high not too low. However, due to some health issues this year it has most certainly been a lot lower than normal. That is for sure. So, on to this weekend's hoo-ha. She came for the weekend and arrived Friday night. We had sex. Saturday night rolls along. Weekend has been lovely. At night we lie in bed watching a TV series till about 2 AM, cuddling, being intimate, etc., and I am really tired, so say let's try and get to sleep. She tries to initiate sex and I am just not up for it, but say I will go down on her. She comes twice. I go to sleep. I wake up and the atmosphere is super frosty and I know straight away she is upset that we didn't have sex, and we go straight into argument mode. She complains that she feels like I never want to have sex with her. Why don't I when she wants to with me? She feels like she needs more intimacy, etc. To be honest, this really hurt my feelings, as she knows I've been unwell and it's just not my fault if I do not feel like having sex. I almost feel as if it was the other way around and it was a guy saying this to a girl. It could be deemed as quite abusive in a way. I tried to explain it has nothing to do with her at all. I just have a low sex drive at the moment, but it doesn't seem to work. To be honest, it's starting to make me feel anxious about the whole subject of sex in general, as I feel like now there's just so much pressure on it. Wondering how to approach/solve this before we move in, as I can only imagine that this is going to exacerbate the situation. Any advice is greatly appreciated. Let me start off by saying that I'm a woman too and I have high sex drive. Nonetheless, I would never pressure my husband to have sex if he didn't want to. That's coercion right there. Imagine if the roles were reversed. It would sound a lot more like sexual assault. Yes, having sex and intimacy regularly is important for her, but what about you? What about your comfort levels? Communicate with her that no means no, and that her getting upset over something like that is hurtful and just plain manipulative. So, she gets what she wants every time? Hope you work it out with her. I'll echo the same. Mine is much higher than my husband, but there's never any pressure. We discuss the subject every few months to make sure we're both feeling on the same page about the level of intimacy. And intimacy isn't always about sex. We've been together for 6 years and have gone through several multi-month-long periods of no sex due to health treatment and injury/surgery, but it's understood that things will resume later and that there's no pressure. Sometimes we go through months of both having super high libidos and that's awesome, but if doesn't always match up, then, well, a vibrator is a girl's best friend, right? Communication is key. Being able to empathize with your partner and have patience is a requirement for a solid long-term loving relationship. I feel like she needs therapy to break the intense connection getting sex has to her self-esteem. It's not fine for her to manipulate it out of you. She makes her needs known, which is great, but you're not obligated to pass over your own needs. She's making it all about her, even if that wasn't her intention. Give her an opportunity to work on it, but it's a real issue. Reality is that libidos do not stay consistent for life, and there will always be periods where you have more/less sex. If you two can't handle this mismatch respectfully and diplomatically, your relationship is never going to work out long term. I'm sensing her high sex drive and insecurity come from a place where she uses sex as validation. She will probably need to do her own work to overcome this, because it does not just get better. You're gonna need to talk this out more and see if you can come to an agreement. You literally performed sex acts on her when you weren't in the mood, to her satisfaction, in the moment, and woke up to being frosted out. That's not okay. If she isn't willing to talk to you about this, and isn't willing to compromise, then your relationship is likely over. What she's expecting of you isn't reasonable. She needs to get over the idea that the only thing that counts as sex is PIV. Are you both in therapy? If not, you should go, to figure out what it is that you want from relationships and whether you're getting it here. I'm concerned about how much she is pressuring you on this. Good luck. My F19 BF M21 brags about how much sex he had with X but barely does it with me. This is super embarrassing and I don't know what to make of it. This is my first relationship and he's my first love, so it hurts pretty bad and his opinion of me matters to me more than it should. I'm working on it. My BF and I have been dating officially for about 6 months, talking for about 9. He's brought up his ex, his first love and previous relationship, several times, and I think he hasn't gotten over her, but that isn't the point of this post. There have been many instances where he talks about how he used to have sex 6 to 8 times a day when him and his ex were dating a year and a half ago. However, we do it maybe 2 to 3 times a week max. I have a high sex drive and whenever I try to instigate more often, he says he's tired or something like that. When I've spoken to him about how insecure it makes me feel when he did it so often with his ex, but not as much with me even when I ask, he gives me different responses. Once he said it was because his sex drive was lower, but it's been a 1.5 years since his previous relationship and he's 21, almost 22, now. Does sex drive drop that quickly? Another time he said sex was the only good thing in the past relationship, super toxic, so they did it often and our relationship is healthier. Also, he's complained of his D/CK hurting after doing it. Is that normal? I don't really know what to believe and this just makes me feel really insecure, coupled with the fact that he let it slip that his ex could do some things in bed that I couldn't as I'm pretty inexperienced. Is he just not as attracted to me as his ex? I just feel like he prefers her more. I'd got to make of it and it's really been bothering me. It would help if someone told me what this means lol and I can go from there. I'm going to break up with him, so advice on what to do isn't what I'm looking for. I'd just like to know what it usually would mean and it would help if some men could give their perspective as well. Is there any truth to the reasons he offered or is he giving me some BS/he's just not as attracted to me, or could there be another reason? Too long didn't read, BF doesn't do it with me as much as he did with X. What does it mean //? Girl, listen up. He ain't no good if he compares you with the past ex. He ain't no good if he makes you feel like there's competition. He ain't no good if he keeps bringing up past sex experiences, because who the hell cares? It's childish AF. Please, you deserve better than this silly boy. Being single is perhaps 100 times better than dating this sort of men. He's probably very much exaggerating how much sex they were having. Maybe he's just intimidated by your high sex drive and feels like he needs to make up crap to prove he totally does have lots of sex. He let it slip that his ex could do some things in bed that I couldn't. He let that slip, did he? He is an asshole. Why the hell is he regaling you with stories of how awesome his former sex life was? Because he is insecure and would rather have you feeling the insecurity to him feeling it? What a freaking jerk. That is beyond disrespectful and gross that he would say that at all to his current girlfriend. If my GF did that once, it'd be an immediate deal breaker. Lose him, you're better off. Lamau girl, he's been leeing, right? No one does it 6 to 8 times a day. He probably said it to sound cool, but it made you jealous and is hurtful. My 20F boyfriend, 21M, always criticizes the way I dress. My boyfriend and I have been together for a little longer than 4 years and it has been great, but for this thing. I have had multiple phases with my dress style ever since we met, and even before, but I was only truly searching for what I liked, and I am now into a more elaborate style that I feel strongly attached to. Meaning I love cottagecore items and I mostly wear long dresses and skirts, as well as long coats that I style with a belt, and I almost always wear heels. I really like my style. I feel great when I'm out wearing dresses and long coats. I feel classy and feminine. I also gained some weight because of the pandemic. The 2 lockdowns in my country made me feel really anxious, and I ate to compensate, not a huge amount but enough for my jeans to look tighter. I just feel better in my skin with the clothes I wear now. My boyfriend can be really hurtful sometimes. He lately asked me for what I wanted for my birthday and for Christmas, to which I responded with a list of items, most of them being dresses I liked on a website. He responded that his gift had to be something he liked too, and that it was not the case for what I picked. He then proceeded to tell me he had a way better idea that wasn't on my list. I find it weird that he asked me to make him a list but then didn't use it. But if he has another idea, well, fine. I guess he has the right to buy something he likes too. Another time, I was dressing myself ready to go out, had to pick up a package, and I was wearing a long dress with a long coat, high-heeled boots as well as a black wide-brimmed hat, which is my usual style. I asked him how I looked and he made fun of me for being too dressed up only to run some errands, but in a very serious way that hurt me. It wasn't the first time that he had made such a comment, so I lost my temper and started crying. He then told me that I was being overdramatic and that he had to be honest with me, that he hated my style and would rather see me wear jeans and sweatshirts. I was really offended when he told me that life is not a ball. You just can't always wear dresses and heels, and his exact words, "This style would fit a TV character such as Ratchet but it doesn't fit you." My style is far from being as elaborate as hers, but it ressembles a bit, and I think he took her example because I would always say that I loved her clothes while watching. I don't really understand how this is a big deal for him because I don't really care for other people's dress style. I already tried to dress the way he liked but I didn't feel comfortable. I try not to ask him for his opinion anymore, but sometimes he sees what I am looking at and says life is not a ball. I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like I will lose it again soon if he keeps on making these comments, and I don't want to break up over clothes. Maybe I can try to compromise on the way I dress. I don't really know if he's overreacting or if I really truly look ridiculous. What can I do? Too long didn't read. My boyfriend makes hurtful comments about the way I dress because he doesn't like it. I don't know if he's being an R or if he's right and my style really is too much. I'm lost because I like my style but I can't take his comments anymore, but it's not that big of an issue and I don't want to break up. Dude, you sound like you've got great style. Life is as much of a ball as you want it to be. And especially during a pandemic, if getting dressed up makes you feel good, then you should absolutely do it. Also, your clothes don't sound at all costume-y to me. I think your boyfriend just can't grasp the idea of having a style beyond jeans and t-shirts. Tell him you dress this way because you like it, it looks good, it makes you happy, and he's allowed to dislike it but doesn't need to make his opinion known because it's not gonna make you change. Seriously, clothes and personal style can be so important to expressing yourself and feeling authentic. Don't let him take that away from you. He responded that his gift had to be something he liked too, and that it was not the case for what I picked. Is that how gifts work? I kind of feel like if his tastes and preferences are dictating the nature of the gift, then it's not really a gift, it's just a little treat for him. But like, this isn't any less controlling or problematic than someone saying Thatu can't wear booty shorts or a crop top. It's about suborning your comfort to his pleasure and preference. That's not a loving act. That's how gifts work for narcissists and bullies.